This is level 3 of the algebra unit, and in this video we're going to be going over equations in the form x over a plus b equals c. And just like the last level, x in this case is the variable that we're going to be trying to solve, and then a, b, and c are going to be any integers. So just real quick, I'll give you a couple examples. X might be, or sorry, A might have a value of 3, B might have a value of, let's say, positive 6, and C might have a value of 14. So that's an example of an equation in this format. Another one would be, I'll give you one with negative numbers. It could be, just change the color here, x over a value, let's say a is negative, perhaps it is negative 4, and then if b is negative, it would be subtracting, so let's say it's negative 5, and c could have a value of negative 20. So there's another example of equation in this format. So let's go ahead and get started with some examples. And if you are pretty comfortable with level 2, this one's actually extremely similar with just one slightly different step. So let's start off with question 1 from your handout, and that is x divided by 3 plus 6 equals 10. So in this case, we've got our two sides to the equation separated by the equal sign here. In order to get x by itself, it looks like we need to get rid of the 3, this divided by 3, and we also need to get rid of this plus 6. But if you remember from the last video, we always get rid of the constant first, and that's this number here. So to get rid of this plus 6, I'm going to subtract 6, because that's the opposite, and we'll do the same thing to the other side, and those cancel out. And so now we'll just write down what we're left with underneath. So we still have this x over 3, so x over 3 equals 10 minus 6, which is 4. Now, for this last step, we need to get rid of this divided by 3. And what's the opposite of divided by 3? It is to multiply by 3. So those will cancel out, and then we'll multiply this side by 3 as well. And so what we're left with is x equals 4 times 3, which is 12. And that should be our answer. So we're just going to double check here. Let's go back up to the question. And so it says x over 3 plus 6. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace x. I'm just going to erase it here. And I'm going to put 12 there instead, because that's what we solved it to be. And if I were to calculate this, I know that 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 4 plus 6 is in fact 10, which is what we were aiming for. So we know we've got the right answer there. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead now and try one that involves maybe some negative numbers. Let's go over here. Okay. Question 8 is x over 7 minus 11 equals negative 1. So again, we first thing we need to do is get rid of this constant. It's this negative 11 here, or minus 11. And the opposite with that would be to add 11. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides of the equation, which will cancel those out, and we'll be left with x over 7 equals negative 1 plus 11, which is positive 10. And last step, to get rid of this divide by 7, we will do the opposite, which is multiplying by 7. Cancels those out. Same thing to this side. And what we'll be left with is just x equals 10 times 7, which is 70. Okay, again, I'm just going to double check our answer to make sure we've got this right. So our equation was x over 7 minus 11. And so instead of x, I'm going to replace it with... Why is my eraser not working? Ugh. Okay. I'm just going to replace x with 70. There we go. Sorry about that. And if I divide 70 by 7, we would get 10. And I know 10 minus 11 is -1. And was that what we were going for? Yes, -1. So that is, in fact, correct. So we've definitely got the right answer there. For the next one, we'll try question number 12. That involves a bit more working with negative numbers. And question 12 is x divided by -2 plus 1 equals 4. So, same story, we need to get rid of this plus 1 first. So the opposite of that would be to subtract 1. Same thing to both sides. Those cancel out. And we're going to be left with x divided by -2 equals 4 minus 1, and that gets us 3. Okay, next up we need to get rid of this divided by -2. Now we know the opposite of dividing is to multiply, so we're going to multiply by -2 to get rid of that -2 on the bottom there. So those completely cancel out. And we need to do the same thing to the right side, so let's multiply that by -2 as well. And what we're going to be left with is x equals 3 times -2, which gets us -6. Great. Okay, and one more time, we're going to check our answer. Okay, just try a different color here. So I'm going to write the equation up here. Instead of x, I'm going to write my answer, which was -6. So -6 over -2 plus 1. And if we did it right, we should get an answer of 4. So -6 divided by -2 would get me positive 3, because they're both negative. And 3 plus 1 is, in fact, 4. So we do have the correct answer. Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. Let's do one more over here. And I think I'll do question number 19, which is 6 minus x over 5 equals -9. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get rid of this 6 here. Obviously it is a positive 6 because there's no negative sign in front of it. To get rid of that 6, we need to subtract it. So let's write -6 below it. And we'll do the same thing to this side over here. So these will cancel out. And we're going to be left with negative x over 5 equals -9 minus 6, and that gets us -15. Notice, excuse me, this is super important here that this minus sign stays with that term, the x over 5. It doesn't just disappear. Okay, now we need to get rid of this. Oh, actually, this is a -5, isn't it? Right down here. That's a -5. So we're in fact going to be multiplying by -5 to get rid of that. That would all disappear. Same thing to this side. So if we work that out, we'll get x equals -15 times -5, which I believe is positive 75. I'm actually not 100% sure on that, so it's actually a good idea to double check again. Let's go up here. So 6 minus, and I'm going to replace x with 75. That's what I got as my answer. Over 5. And if I calculate this, I'm hoping we get an answer of -9. Let's just double check. So 75 divided by 5 gets me 15, and 6 minus 15 is in fact negative 9, so we're good. So that means x is in fact 75. Okay, that is it for level 3.